Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a hidden war that's happening right inside millions of homes. Seriously, it's a battle between your house's single most important machine, the air conditioner, and an environment that feels like it was specifically engineered to destroy it.
So, what is it about Florida that makes it an actual graveyard for air conditioners? I mean, it goes so much deeper than just, well, it's hot. The reality is way more complex, and honestly, a lot more aggressive than you might think.
And look, this isn't me being dramatic. This quote right here absolutely nails it. For places like Poinciana and Central Florida, it's the literal perfect storm for HVAC failure. It's a relentless combination of things all ganging up to push these machines to their breaking point, day in and day out.
All right, so let's get into it. To really get why these systems fail so often, you have to stop thinking of Florida as a vacation spot. For your air conditioner, it's a high-stress, high-stakes battlefield.
Think about this number for a second. 10 months. In Central Florida, your AC can be running for pretty much 10 months out of the year. That is a workload that most systems are just not built for. It's like asking a marathon runner to sprint for 10 months straight. Something's got to give. So that constant stress, it eventually becomes a full-on assault. See, it's not just one thing that kills an AC unit in Florida. Oh, no. It's a whole team of environmental attackers all working together. So let's break down the climate's arsenal, piece by piece.
This just lays it all out, doesn't it? You've got the obvious enemies, right? The intense 90-plus degree heat and that oppressive 80% humidity. But then you've got the sneakier attackers. Sandy, moist soil that clogs up drain lines, extra humidity coming off all those lakes, and a constant cloud of construction and vehicle dust that just chokes the system. Every single one of these is a weapon aimed right at your AC.
Now, when a machine is under this much constant pressure, it starts to fail in some pretty predictable ways. So we're going to walk through the 4 most common casualties in this war, the big red flags that tell you your system is losing the fight. And trust me, knowing these can save you a ton of time, money, and, well, sweat.
First up, frozen coils. And yeah, I know, it sounds totally backwards, right? How does a machine that's supposed to be making cold air freeze itself solid? Well, it's a classic sign that your system is literally suffocating. So what does this actually look like in your house? Well, you might notice the air coming out of your vents is really weak, or maybe you see water dripping from the unit inside. What that means is that something, usually a dirty filter or low refrigerant, is blocking airflow. That causes ice to build up on the indoor coils and boom, your cooling grinds to a halt.
Okay, next up we have clogged drains. This one is all about the humidity. Your AC is basically a dehumidifier on steroids. And in Florida, that means it's pulling gallons and gallons of water out of the air every single day. All that water has to go somewhere. And when it has nowhere to go, this is what you get. Water damage on your ceilings or floors. And the cause is kind of gross but simple. All that warm, wet darkness inside the drain line is the perfect breeding ground for algae and gunk, which builds up, blocks the line, and causes a nasty, expensive overflow. Our third common failure is a little thing called a capacitor. You can think of it like the spark plug for your AC. It provides that big jolt of electricity needed to kickstart the giant motors in your outdoor unit. But in that relentless Florida heat, these parts burn out incredibly fast.
Ever heard your outdoor unit just humming, but the fan isn't actually spinning? That is not a good sound. That's a cry for help. It means the capacitor's dead and can't give the motor the kick it needs to get going. If you ignore that hum, you can destroy the compressor, and that's the most expensive part of the whole system to replace. And finally, our fourth horseman of the AC apocalypse, refrigerant leaks. This is a slow burn problem. It's not dramatic, it's insidious. It's like your system is slowly bleeding out its lifeblood, the refrigerant that actually does the cooling. You're going to notice this problem on your power bill before you notice it anywhere else. The system will run and run and run, working harder than ever, but the house just doesn't get cool. That's because the constant vibration mixed with the corrosive, humid air has created tiny pinhole leaks in the refrigerant lines, letting all that cooling power just escape into the atmosphere. So, when one of these things inevitably happens, you're hit with the big question. Do you pay for the repair, or is it time to bite the bullet and replace the whole unit? Well, there's actually a really simple rule of thumb that can help you make that call without all the guesswork. It's called the $5,000 rule. And it's super simple. You just take the cost of the repair quote and you multiply it by the age of your system in years. If that final number is more than $5,000, then replacing it is probably the smarter financial move in the long run.
Let's just run the numbers on a couple of examples. Say you've got a $400 repair on a 10-year-old unit. 400 times 10 is $4,000. That's under the $5,000 line, so a repair probably makes sense. But what if it's a $600 repair on a 12-year-old system? Well, 600 times 12 is $7,200. The rule says you're better off putting that money towards a brand new, efficient unit.
So how do you actually win this war against the climate? Well, the secret isn't about fighting the environment. You can't. It's about respecting its power. You win by installing a system that is properly and precisely equipped for the specific battlefield of your home.
And the number one weapon in your arsenal for that is something called a manual J load calculation. Now, this isn't some guy's best guess. It's the official engineering method. It analyzes everything, your home's square footage, your insulation, your windows, how much sun they get, to figure out the exact size AC unit you need. No guesswork. This is how you give your system a fighting chance from day one.
But even with a perfect installation, you've got to be realistic. This chart right here says it all. Up north, an HVAC system could last 20 years, no problem. But in Central Florida, even if you do everything right, you're looking at 12 to 15 years max. That's just the reality. The climate takes years off the system's life. It's the unavoidable tax you pay for living in paradise.
So just remember this. Your air conditioner is the hardest working appliance you own. And here in Florida, it's locked in a constant, brutal fight for its life. And the only question you have to ask yourself is it equipped to win?